Hi everyone, this is Sharifa Tharpe at SC. I am a U.S. immigration attorney, Sharifa Tharpe. I work at ST Law Office and I basically help clients to get their green card and work permit. Your immigration questions. So today I usually come with a topic as well, and I talk about that topic until the questions come in. So go ahead and make sure you still ask your question. It could be anything for a green card. So which U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident can file for a green card? So let's get started with that. So a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident are the people who can file for their certain immigrant relatives to come to the United States. So the U.S. citizen, Rand Hava, my wife put false allegations of domestic violence to keep me out of the USA. What should I do? So yes, I remember, I believe this was your question before. So, and I think you said that were charges pending, which makes it very difficult. What I would suggest you do at this time is to get a good criminal defense attorney. That should be your priority in order to carry you through the process. And, seeing that you are innocent, then the attorney should be able to guide you through the steps to prove your innocence. But the number one thing that you have to do is definitely seek the counsel of a criminal attorney. In addition to that, the U.S. immigration law does not see domestic violence as something that's a minor offense. It is a deportable offense. So once, I'm not a criminal attorney, and so I would not want to advise you on how to plead or anything like that. But you should tell your attorney or your attorney should be able to tell you, that there are consequences for pleading guilty to this type of offense. And if they can't completely, for example, prove your innocence, then the next option would be a possible plea deal. But that would be up to you and your criminal defense attorney. If you have been assigned a public defender, make sure that you're on top of it and that they can advise you, knowing that if you plead guilty to domestic violence charges, that could very well mean deportation. So definitely, Garth, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So let's go. And I'm sorry, Ranhava, that this is happening. But the best step is to get through that criminal aspect of it and have a good attorney to get you through that part of it to avoid immigration consequences. So go ahead and ask your immigration questions. Garth, you'll call the office tomorrow. I just want to make sure that you have my number. It's 561-405-4889. You can also go to the link in my bio where you can find the link to my website, and there you have the web form that you can complete if you want us to contact you. You have the number on the top or the bottom of the form or the contacts page as well. So Srinivas, my wife saying separately and not talking to me and not willing for divorce. She's using for H4 dependent visa. Okay, so she's using you for the H4 dependent visa. Okay, so Randhava, yes. So in this case too, we could take your information and give you a call. So if you call us afterwards or during the weekend, the receptionist should be able to take your information as well, and we can call you back. But if they didn't do that, then for sure, please give me a call on Monday, and we'll definitely speak to you then. So Srinivas, can I revoke? That I would want to discuss with you in a consultation to determine what your rights are in regards to your wife's visa. So give me a call at 561-405-4889 to be able to figure out what's going on and determine how you should proceed. So questions so far, just you're welcome to questions in the comments and I will answer those questions. So I came with a topic as well, and I will be talking about that topic while more questions come in. If you have put your questions, but you notice that there's a little bit of delay and I'm not getting to it, it's because there is a delay. There is a delay where it takes a while for all the questions to come across to me. So just hang tight and I'll get to your question. But in the meantime, while I wait for those questions to come across, I am also going to talk about which relatives, U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents, those are green card holders, can sponsor for a green card. So U.S. citizens can sponsor their parent, their child under 21 and unmarried, or their spouse. They can also, those three types of relatives take priority in the green card process. So that with that one, they don't have to wait for an immigrant visa number to become available. They start processing it right away. So Randhava, if my conditional green card duration finishes, but my criminal case is still running. So yes, in this case, that is a very complicated issue. You would definitely need to submit documentation. So you still have to submit your documentation by the deadline, or you can also do, in this case, you have to do a waiver. So the waiver would be based on divorce, would be based on mistreatment, or would be based on extreme hardship should you return to your country. Now, with the criminal case pending at the same time, they're definitely going to want that information. And, it's a complicated issue just because the domestic violence means that it doesn't have to mean that the marriage wasn't real, but then as I said before, it's a serious issue. And if they see a conviction, then they will definitely refer it to immigration court, so for deportation proceedings. So what they may do is terminate your status anyway, and then send you to court where you would have to prove otherwise. So your case is very complex, and it can end in different ways. What you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889, schedule a consultation, and then we can talk more. But it is something this is a case that we would have to look more at the details, what happened, what are the different possibilities, and formulate a strategy going forward and how to approach it. And then Randhava, how can I legally stay? So if it's terminated, then unfortunately you would lose your status, and it would go into immigration court, where you would have to, that's where you would figure out or be able to prove your case or make an argument to the judge to prevent the deportation. But once again, it's a complex situation that I really would not be able to give you specific advice unless we sit down and talk about it in detail. Right. So you never reported because I was shy, but last time my wife called the cops on me. And I'm so sorry that has happened. The priority should be the get a good criminal attorney to help you through the charges. And then in addition to that, with the with the deadline approaching on your conditional green card, you'll definitely want to get good legal advice about how to approach this situation. Because there needs to be a strategy just based on what's going on. So Niash Cook heard about a new thing where we didn't have to get married for green card, or what is pay money. So there's the immigration reform bill is now before Congress, and it hasn't been approved. So keep that in mind. That is not law. It hasn't been implemented. But if it is implemented the way it is, it doesn't have to be. So, it's before Congress. They're going to negotiate. They're going to take things out, put things in. So it's not going to look like how it's being proposed. But if it's passed as it is proposed, then if you are undocumented in the United States, you would just pay for, you'd have to make sure you pay your taxes. You would have to register and pass a background check. And then you would get temporary status for 5 years. Then after the 5 years, you could apply for a green card. And then after you've had the green card for 3 years, you could apply for citizenship. So that is that new thing you're hearing about, but it is not law, and it is not anything. So I have proof of my bruises, but I never reported that because it's taboo in our culture. And if a man, of course, I understand, and these are definitely real issues that you're talking about. And I'm sorry that you went through that. And there's definitely a way to apply for the green card based on what you went through. So give me a call and let's talk about it in detail. Okay, so let me get through these questions to make sure I get through to everybody. So Vishal 623, I'm a green card holder due to apply for citizenship. How can I bring in my girlfriend British? Okay, so if you are applying for citizenship, when you become a U.S. citizen, you can apply for her as your fiance and get a fiance visa for her. And that would allow her to come to the United States for 90 days, and then you would be obligated to get married within the 90 days. If once you get married within the 90 days, you then have to file the adjustment of status application to make sure that she gains legal status in the United States as a green card holder. You could also get married and then apply for her to come over, and once she enters the country, she would become a permanent resident once she goes through the green card process. So I'm seeing more questions, but they're delayed. So just hang tight while the questions load again. Unfortunately, they're very delayed on my end. So let's see. All right. So I see Favor 420. I don't see what your that looks like an incomplete question. Say, anyone to marry. Randhava, you're welcome, and please reach out for assistance. Jamaican Queen 79, my boyfriend has a felony more than 15 years ago. How can I help? So if your boyfriend is outside of the United States, there is a waiver that's available for criminal offenses, and if it's been more than 15 years and he can show that he was rehabilitated, then that is one way. Or if it's, in this case, it's more than 15 years, so that could very well apply. Those are the only two requirements. But you said the boyfriend, he would also have to be qualify for the green card, and as his girlfriend, you wouldn't qualify to apply for him. But if you got married and then filed for the waiver, then he would be able to prove, first of all, that the offense took place more than 15 years ago and he's now rehabilitated and it's not against the U.S. national interest to let him back into the country. Now, keep in mind, if it is a drug offense or drug trafficking, that there's no waiver for that. If it's over a certain, if it was a single charge, which in this case it's a felony, so it's telling me that it's not a small amount of marijuana, which if you had a very small amount of marijuana, then and a single charge of that, then there's a waiver for that. But anything else that's drug related, drug trafficking, it will not, there's no waiver for that. In other cases now, other criminal offenses and also murder or torture, there is no waiver for that. If it was a violent or dangerous crime, then that first requirement for the waiver is not applicable. You'd have to prove so if you got married to him and then you filed the paperwork for him, he would have to file a waiver proving that you would face extreme hardships without him. Not extreme hardships, exceptional and extremely unusual hardships, which is a very high standard to meet in order to get the green card. So it's a little complicated. It may be possible. It just depends on what the facts are and what the felony was, what the nature of the criminal offense was. If you'd like to schedule a consultation and let's talk about it more, call 561-405-4889. The receptionist will get you on the schedule. Baby girl, TT, to do work and travel. I'm living in Jamaica. Is it possible? It's possible if you qualify through an employer to work, or you get sponsored through an employer to get the green card. But if you just have a visitor's visa and you're coming here on that B2 visa or B1, you cannot work, and that is a sure way to get the visa canceled. You have to make sure that the visa you're coming in gives you the permission to work. Baby girl TT, I'm married and my husband and children are living in the USA. I'm currently on filings, but I want... Oh, so you want to do work and travel. So you wouldn't be able to work. And you wouldn't be able to travel into the United States and work or stay unless you're going through... It really depends, right? Because if your husband is a U.S. citizen and you happen to come and visit and then you decide to stay and overstay the visa, then there is a process to do adjustment of status and then get the work permit. But you have to make sure you qualify in all respects, that there are no other issues in your background that would cause that, it's called adjustment of status, to be denied. So definitely get legal advice. But if your husband is a legal permanent resident and which is a green card holder, then you would need to probably stay, and if you even travel to see your husband and children, you should not work until the paperwork comes through. Jamaican Queen 79. I got married under false pretenses and now he wants to divorce his wife. He got married under false pretenses and now he wants to divorce his wife and get married to his kids. And okay, so another thing is, I don't know. So I got married under false pretenses and now he wants to divorce his wife. Jamaican Queen, I'm not getting that exactly, so just clarify. But if there is some sort of marriage fraud related to the immigration going on, if that's a felony, then he would be permanently barred from obtaining the green card. But clarify for me so I can answer your question more clearly. Randhava, I'm so sorry you're going through that, and let's talk about it some more and figure out a strategy to go forward. At the same time, make sure that you're working with your defense attorney to see if you can get the charges dismissed, get them substantially reduced. Because what happens, what will happen is what the consequences of what will happen depends on the criminal charges and the results of the criminal charges. I am Sonica. It's nice to see you here, and thank you for sharing my live. So Rochelle Angel, let's see. So he lives here, Jamaican Queen. All right. So Rochelle Angel, my son's dad's green card expired in July. He has warrants trying to take care of them. How can we file it? So if his green card expires and he has warrants, it's a little more complicated, and I would want to definitely get an immigration attorney involved to see what can be done, because that is a more complex issue that I wouldn't want to advise you something without knowing all the details. But I don't know the nature of the warrants and whether that is going to lead to possible deportation or denial of the renewal of the green card. But in this case, if he's a green card holder and it expired, it does not mean that he's lost his status, because he will not lose his status unless it's actually revoked in immigration court. So it all depends on what kind of warrants there are, whether the father of your children, whether he was convicted for it, whether he has been referred to immigration court, whether he can get back a green card, or whether he's going to lose his status, really depends on all those facts. So what you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889, and let's talk about it a little bit more. Praise I am. Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. I am Sonica. Once again, thank you for sharing my live. Please keep the questions coming. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So Archel, if the person who applied for you passed away, will the process be canceled? It may, but there is something called humanitarian reinstatement, that if you qualify for it, somebody else can step in the shoes of the person that sponsored you and keep the process going. So definitely give me a call and let's talk about whether you qualify for that process. K907, let's see. K907, it seems like your question is a little has been cut off, so let's see. Okay, so Jamaican Queen 79, my sister's 2 years green card is my sister is years green card is expiring. Does she need to fill out two separate for her and my niece? So it depends on when when the niece came into the country along with her. So if her niece came in more than 2 years, 6 months after her, then it would have to be a separate filing. But if they were included on the same application and they came in at the same time, then it would be the same application. But keep in mind, this is general information I'm giving you. I wouldn't be able to advise as to what forms that she's gonna file without knowing the total facts of the case. But generally speaking, when you're dealing with a conditional green card and a child is involved, it depends on the time period and how they obtain the green card. Do you help with work sponsorship green card? So yes, I do. If there's an employer or you'd like to know get advice as to how to approach the green card process. If you have an employer who wants to sponsor you, I definitely work on those. So I'm gonna keep, let me see, a bunch of questions came in. I'm gonna try to get through as many as I can. K907, please retype your question. I'm not seeing the rest of it. What is the telephone number? So Sam Ches 93. How long does it take for a brother to get a visa when filed by a U.S. citizen? 14 to 22 years, depending on what country you're from. So if you're from the Caribbean, 14 years. If you're from Mexico, it's taking 22 years. If you're from Philippines, it's taking about 19 years. And India is taking about 15 years. Jamaican Queen 79. My telephone number is 561-405-4889. You can also go to the link in my bio and it takes you to my website, where you can get the number there at the top of the page, at the bottom page, and on the contact us. And if you follow me, you'll see my number every time on the videos as well. Jamaican Queen, both came together. So in that case, now generally, yes, but I would want to learn more facts. I actually confirm. Stas Love, hi dear, blessings. I have a question. Thank you. My fiance is a Jamaican. He's been in the States for now. So let's see if there's anything else. So if you're, let's see, so a Jamaican and if you're a U.S. citizen and you get married and he came into the country with a visa but it overstayed that visa, he can apply for the green card here as long as he doesn't have any other disqualifying issues like criminal issues or misrepresentation or other immigration violations. Then he would be able to apply for the green card while being in the United States if you sponsored him. So let's see. Some of the questions seem to be incomplete. So I'm going to choose the ones that are, so Rooney Tread. How do I apply for green card and work permit? It all depends on how you qualify. So if you qualify through a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident, family member, if you qualify through an employer, if you qualify through humanitarian means like asylum, or if you're a victim of a crime, or and those aren't green cards actually, those are visas that can lead to the green card. So let's see. So Irene 0887, I remember you called my mom's name on your Zoom and she was so glad. Well, I'm glad that I made your mom's day. That's awesome. So Nayesh Cook 20, I have a bachelor's degree in teaching. How can I apply for a job and live in Canada? So practice Canadian immigration law. That would be for another attorney, a Canadian immigration attorney, to help you with. What you can do is you'd have to look up a Canadian immigration lawyer. So Delightfully Diff, is there a cost for consultation? Where are you located? So yes, I do charge consultations, but it is well worth it. The cost is $150 for up to an hour, where we sit down and we discuss your situation in detail, come up with a strategy, come up with different solutions for you. I confirm whether you qualify for any kind of immigration benefits, and you'll walk away with answers or me as your attorney. So definitely it is worth it to go in, get informed, and understand the process so you're not making devastating mistakes. And if you need help, you can get the help you need. So Niash Cook, so I think I answered that question. K907, live in the Caribbean. So let's see. K907. I'm trying to go back to see your question. It's like they get fragmented. So let's see. Delightfully Diff. Okay, I answered that. And Niash Cook 20. I have a bachelor's degree in teaching. How can I apply for a job? And oh no, sorry, that no. A job. And so Niash, I think I answered your question about Canada. K9, I think that was fragmented. Delightfully Diff, I have an employer that will sponsor me, but I'm the end, so I fill out everything myself. So definitely consult with me and let me discuss your situation, and I can definitely help you with it. So give me a call at 561-405-4889, schedule a consultation, and then we can look over it. So keep the questions coming. Let's see. So we have more questions. Let's see. So Delightfully Diff, no, I don't do perm applications only. I do family-based as well. So I do family-based, employment-based, and humanitarian-based immigration. So Zanique Edwards, I am a qualified teacher. I live in the Caribbean. How can I apply for a job in the US? So it all depends on who is willing to sponsor you to come to the United States to do teaching. So the first thing you have to do is find a program where an employer will hire you. As an immigration attorney, I don't look for the employers. I only get into the process once the employer is involved or if the employer hires me. But the most I can tell you is you will need an employer first to sponsor you for a temporary or even permanent employment-based visa. So Unitred, I have a son here who is 4 years old. So U.S. citizen children can't parents unless they're over 21. Shane 1, your son is 2. He was born in the USA. My wife is Jamaican. Can we get a work permit? Unfortunately, no. Your son would have to be over 21 to be able to sponsor you. There's one thing I don't really like to say no until I actually talk to you, because I don't know what your circumstances are. But just based on the information you've provided, that you have a U.S. citizen son, but you and your wife are Jamaican, that alone will not qualify you. There has to be some other qualifying factors. So what you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889 to discuss if there's anything else in your background that would qualify you. So you Runitred, so I have to be married to get a green card? Not necessarily. So there's marriage, your parents are U.S. citizens. If you have a child who's 21 and over who's a U.S. citizen, if you have a legal permanent resident parent and you're unmarried, then the green card holder can sponsor you. Also, employers can sponsor you. So if you find a job in the United States and they can sponsor you, sometimes not for a green card. There are the green card based employment based green cards, but also temporary as well. And the temporary employment based green cards is a good way to try life out before you actually pursue the green card. Rush Shane 162, so you're saying an employer can file for the green card. Now keep in mind that it may not, it's up to the employer, but it's also dependent on your qualifications and whether Some cases they require the labor certification. So the labor certification is basically a way to make sure that when you come into the United States as a green card holder, you're not actually depriving other citizens or other people in the United States from a job they could be working. So it's another, process in the green card thing. There are some green cards you can apply on your own, or you can have an employer but still self-petition. However, those are extraordinary ability green cards and exceptional ability green card. In this case, so for example, if you're at the top of your career or the top of your field, you're nationally or internationally renowned in your field, in science, the arts, in education, athletics, or business, then you can, as long as you can prove that you're at the top of your field, that you've gained awards, that you get paid more than usual. There are 10 criteria and you have to prove 3 out of the 10. If you can do that, then that extraordinary ability green card could be yours. So that's one way to apply on your own. Otherwise, you're going to need an employer. So, Archel Clazel, you've been married over 21 years. How many years is the wait? So it depends. Marriage to a green card holder and marriage to a U.S. citizen, right, taking about 2 years, that process to go through. So, So Juan Chapo, did COVID change the visa application process from what it was previously? No. So yes. So the visa application process. So some visas were put on hold. So and some green cards were put on hold. So there was a ban on issuing green cards to certain individuals, except for certain relatives of U.S. citizens. Everybody else was on hold. So employment-based green cards, family-based green cards, diversity, lottery green cards were placed on hold during the pandemic, but those bans have been lifted. So if in this case, and some temporary employment-based visas were put on hold as well. So those were some of the changes that affected the application process. So let's see. I'm trying to make sure I catch everybody's questions. Don, I think it's Donnie Quendent. Thank you for sharing my live, and thanks for those who have shared my live so far. So Delightfully Diff, would the company have to have the Perm application already approved before you can help? So it depends. So if the employer is already represented by an attorney, and they are dealing with the petition aspect of it, then yes. However, you can always consult me, because the employer is represented by their attorney, and then your interest also you also want to make sure you're getting advice along the way as well. So it just depends on whose interest. So before it's approved, usually at the petition part of it, the employer, if they're represented, or if they're not, they still file that petition aspect. So Rush, how long does it take for a green card to be processed? It depends on how you're applying. So if you're applying through a family member, so U.S. citizens, it really differs, but I would say about 2 years. The spouse or child of a green card holder, I would say about 2 years. And then everybody else, so if you're over 21 and you're the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, it's taking 6.5 years. If you're the son or daughter of a green card holder, it's taking 5.5 years. So it just depends on how you're applying, and then employment based it differs, and it depends on what type of green card you're filing for, because there are multiple employment based grant employment based green cards. Hi, Elon Murdoch. It's nice to see you here. Staslov, is City and Guild certificate certified in the US? So I wouldn't know that offhand. That is something that I would have to look into. If the City and Guild certificate, if that's education, there are companies that deals with, transferring or making sure that the qualifications in another country are equivalent to the ones in the US, but that is something I'll be able to tell you here. Nicoy Morgan, HB skills. So I don't know, that one is fragmented. So until you type your question in again. Let's see, Tashmani, I'm married to my husband. He's a permanent resident. Can I file for a permit? So unfortunately not. If you're in the United States right now and you don't have a status, then you wouldn't be able to just apply for a work permit. But at the same time, it depends on what the circumstances in your marriage is. That's why I would not want to tell you something definitively. But if you're married to your husband and everything is great, and you are both on good terms, no marital issues, then no, you would not be able to just apply for a work permit, especially with applying first for the green card. But also to stay in the United States and apply for the green card, you would have to make sure you maintain a legal status in order to successfully complete the process without being denied. So it all depends on your circumstances. If you would really like to figure out a strategy going forward, give me a call at 561-405-4889 and we can talk about it. So 6 Nicole 1, my friend came up here on a visa. Now he wants to stay and work off here. Can he get a working visa? It all depends on what his circumstances are. But if he has no way of getting a green card, then the likelihood of getting a working visa is very low. And he probably would be stuck here without status unless he has an employer lined up or something like that. So Ronaldo Spence, what is the cost when applying for a Canadian visa? So I am not a Canadian immigration attorney. You'd have to seek a Canadian immigration attorney. I'm in training for practical nurses, and could I work in the US with City and Guilds? So that is dependent on, there are companies that deal with whether what you're learning in your country, your practical nursing experience is equivalent to the US. So I wouldn't be able to answer that unless that company evaluates and confirms that it's equivalent. So, it's a little bit delayed, so bear with me as I get through the questions. I'm going to try to get through your questions as quickly as possible. So just hang tight and make sure I get everybody's questions. So let's see. So Martin Milo, my wife got her visa and my daughter, is it easier that I may be my visa too? So my wife got her visa and my daughter, is it easier that I may be my visa too? It just depends on what's going on and what kind of visa it is. So we'd have to talk. Any tips on how I can land a job in this field, worker or with the government? Unfortunately, I don't have any particular tips. As the immigration attorney, I help with the process once you find the job, but I'm not really involved in the job seeking process. So let's see. To help him get a working visa or green card, and I called your office and no one got back to me. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Sex Nicole. We usually try to get back to everyone that calls, and if you left your name or your number with the receptionist, we should have gotten back to you. So if you want to give us a call back, or if you want to complete the online form, so if you go to the website, go to the link in my bio, complete the web form, then we can get back to you and call you and talk to you. And but yes, if you left your name and your number, when did you call? Sex Nicole 1, my friend came from Jamaica. He has a visa and he wants to stay in the United States. What can I do? So I believe I answered that one already. So I have get deportation to the Bahamas. I used to have a green card, but I had a crime. Well, when it comes to criminal issues, we would definitely have to talk in a consultation, because that gets complicated, and we usually have to do a detailed evaluation on the facts of the case to see whether you have a solution. So the green cards that Biden is releasing, are they legit? So Rush Shane, I'm glad you asked that. It's not law. So Biden hasn't done, he only introduced a proposal before Congress. And Congress has to decide now whether they're going to approve it, or whether they're going to take some things out or put some things in. So it hasn't been approved. It's not law. But if it does, and if it does get approved by Congress the way it is, then it will be legit. And you can guarantee I'll let you know when that happens. You're welcome, Roshane. Max Lorfils from the USA. So I believe I answered your question about that. So Wayne 421, my family's from Jamaica. I grew up in Jamaica. I don't know if you go back into my ancestry, but I know for sure that I'm Jamaican. So Max Lorfils, if you would like to discuss a solution, possibility to get back, give me a call. Martin Melo, thanks for sharing my live. I appreciate that. When will Guyana embassy be reopened? So that is a good question, and it really depends on what's happening with the situation in Guyana. Many of them some of them have been closed because there was a ban on the green cards, issuance of green cards. Ban has been lifted, so you might see the wheels starting to turn, but it really depends on what's going on with the Guyanese embassy or the U.S. embassy in Guyana, and why, the reason why they're closed. So Sabrina, 24, someone lost their green card and it's time for them to do their citizenship. Can they do it without? So what you would want to do is still apply to replace the green card. So to get a replacement of the green card, because it would just reduce any kind of complications. Now there is if you have copies of your green card, so if you have copies of your green card that you lost, you could still move forward with applying for citizenship. But in order to still have evidence of your permanent residence, you're going to want to get that replaced. But in the meantime, if you don't have it on you, you can use the copy front or back of your green card and then stolen to get another one. Archel Clausel, my mother applied for me and my husband in 2016. How long is the wait? So if your mom is a U.S., which your mom would have to be a U.S. citizen to sponsor you, it's taking about 12 and a half years. But in order to determine how long you have to wait, there is a special chart called the National Visa Bulletin that would give you, you can look at the dates that they're processing, and then you can figure out, well, if they're processing, for example, if you see they're processing 2010, you know you have a 6-year wait. So go ahead and keep the questions coming. I would love to hear your questions. If I don't get any more questions, then I'm going to call it a day. Let's see. There's some more. Let's see. Okay, so K, even if I the system, I don't know, K907. Your questions keep coming across incomplete. I'd love to answer them, but they're incomplete. Archel Clausel, thank you for sharing my live. So I don't see any more questions, but if you do have a question, now would be the time to drop it. If I do check out before the question comes across to me, you can always come back again. Just make sure you follow me. Once you follow me, then you will be able to get notice when I go live, and you will be able to hop on at the same time and ask your immigration questions. So go ahead and follow me, and then wait for me to keep coming on. I usually come on about between 6 and 10 p.m. But you don't have to do a guessing game. If you follow me, you will just get notice that I'm online. Thank you for all your questions. If I missed your question, because there are so many questions coming in, so if I missed your question, hang on to your question. As soon as you see me go live, hop on and ask it. Hi, one user. As always, it's nice to see you here. So have a good Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow. And remember, if I miss your question, just come on tomorrow and drop your question as soon as you see me. Bye, guys.